Good evening all and welcome to another video on All How the Ale. It's Saturday night, which means it's craft beer night. And tonight we're going for another rewind video featuring two breweries I've had lots of beers from over the years. Maybe not so much recently, but nevertheless, it's these two. It is Tiny Rebel and Vocation with the Pineapple Express and the Love and Hate. Now, they are different beers, admittedly. One's a regular IPA, one's a New England IPA, but I have had many of each over the years. My first impression of this one was not so great. When I got it, can was oxidised, and that's when I realised that Tiny Rebel do brilliant customer service because I let them know, and they sent me a replacement plus a box of other stuff to try on the house, which was really kind of them. And I found some really nice beers. Vocation with Love and Hate. I've had lots of that over the years. Again, I've had some oxidised ones, but nevertheless, didn't get anything from Vocation. Not that it matters. It is what it is. Sometimes you get a bad can. Maybe Tiny Rebel was just having a good day. Vocation, not so much. But out of the two, over the years, I've drunk more of the Love and Hate. Now, it has changed recipe. It has dropped in ABV. Almost certainly it used to be 7.4, but it's now 7.2. But Pineapple Express is still remaining at 6.2. So all we're going to do, we're going to go taste the two beers, see if I can recall any changes. And I know they're not the same, but we're just going to give a point to whichever one I prefer, the looks, aroma, body, taste, and finish off. So yeah, there we go. So we're going to start by pouring the Vocation into a Vocation glass. I like it when I can do this. It's the first video I think I've done where I've got matching hardware for the software. Anyway, the pour on Love and Hate is still hazy. I'm not going to go nuts on the pour, that'll do. But it is still hazy. It's golden, juicy looking, nice, slightly off-white head. Yeah, it looks alright, that. It does look alright. Let's have a whiff. Yeah, it still smells juicy. Anyway, the Pineapple Express is going into a Tiny Rebel glass. Like I say, matching hardware for the software. The pour, pale, hazy. Thankfully not oxidised like the very first can of it I had. That'll do. And yeah, it's still orange. White head. Different colour. Expected because they're different beers. But yeah, heads are nice on both of them. Beers both look nice. But which do I prefer the look of? Come to that later anyway. No, we won't. We'll do that now. We'll go to the scoreboard of joy straight away, which currently looks like so. And all we're going to do is going to record a cheeky point for whichever one I prefer the look of. Indeed, it's going to be the Vocation. The reason being is because I prefer the colour. It's darker. It's more. Well, it's a better haze. It just looks better to my eye. I prefer the look of it. Aromas. Let's go for a whiff. So Pineapple Express was always pineapple-y, and it still is. It's a sweet, sugary pineapple. Not as candied as I remember it, but then again, that could just be my memory. It's been a good couple of years since I've had one. But yeah, nevertheless, it's still pineapple and stone fruit sitting in there. Whereas the Love and Hate is all about the stone fruit and getting all over my nose. Juicy, mango, peach. A little bit more bitterness on the nose. A little bit more alcohol, I think. Well, obviously there is more, it's 7.2. But there's a bit more bitterness in the Love and Hate compared to the Pineapple Express. Which for me, I like the bitterness, I like the sweetness, but I prefer the Vocation because I like that slightly better balance to the nose. The sweetness for me, don't get me wrong, I like a sweet beer every now and then, but overall I just prefer that more intense stone fruit, slightly bitter nature of the Love and Hate. So as for the body test, We're going to start with the Tiny Rebel. Medium weight, smooth, clean carbonation. It's not excessive in any way, shape or form. Whereas the Love and Hate, slightly heavier. Not so smooth carbonation. Yeah, there is a clear winner. I just wanted to see if the carbonation was just a first impression thing. It's not. Anyway, the clear winner for me is the Vocation. I know this is not a like for like test. Just putting that back out there again. It's just which I prefer out of the two. But yeah, slightly thicker, slightly more bodied overall. Carbonation just works a little bit better with that slight bit of extra heft in the body. Now the flavour, we're going to start with the more bitter beer first, which is this one. It doesn't seem to have changed much with the recipe change. That stone fruit is still intense. That slight alcoholic kick is still there. It's still balanced. It starts out bitter, fades into a little bit sweeter and juicy. And it's still an absolutely fantastic beer. No questions asked. It is superb. Loads of flavour, loads of balance, loads of hops. It's brilliant. And the Pineapple Express, see, off the bat, it's pineapple through and through. It's sweeter. It's more, I don't know, it's still hoppy. It's still very hoppy. But I think the malts just come out a little bit more. And that little extra alcohol kick. It's really going to be down to which you prefer. Do you prefer truly sweet beers, or do you prefer something a little bit more bitter? And for me, it is more bitter beer, which means it's another point to the Vocation. So it's running away with it, really. It's 4-0 at this point. The last test is the finish. Now, on any IPA, doesn't matter whether it's New England or what, it doesn't matter. I like them hoppy, long, and bitter. And Pineapple Express, it's definitely hoppy, but that intense pineapple fades away pretty quickly into a little bit of bitterness. That's where most of the bitterness is on the back end of Pineapple Express. The hops, they fade a little bit as well. You're left with a juicy flavour and that real subtle bitterness. Whereas the Love and Hate, it's definitely more bitter. It's definitely hoppier. As for longevity, the intensity goes, and you're left with a beautiful, hoppy, malty, balanced finish. It's a no-brainer for me. The comparison means that the Vocation gets the win, and it gets a 5-0 sweep compared to the Tiny Rebel. There you go. That's what we've got. 5 out of 5 for the Vocation. But that's not to say that Pineapple Express is a bad beer, because it's not. It's just a completely different beer, and this was just for fun. It is a sweeter palate person's beer. I mean, your ingredients list is water, obviously, malted barley, malted wheat, pineapple juice, hops, and yeast. So it's got the real pineapple juice in there. And for someone like my wife, who's a big fan of Tiny Rebel beers, particularly the sweeter offerings, then Pineapple Express is absolutely going to be up your street. It's definitely more of a summer beer because of that sweetness. It really is quite a joy to drink, if I'm honest. But it's not compared to the Love and Hate, which is much more my cup of tea. I mean, your ingredients are listed still somewhere as, where are we? Everything's small on here now. Where are we? It must have the ingredients somewhere. Maybe just not. Ah, there we go. Yeah. I see them in foreign. I see something in foreign. I don't know which foreign. Dutch, maybe. Oh, yeah, here we go. Water, hops, and molten yeast. Maybe. Anyway, I'm digressing. This one does tell you the hops on here, though. Citra and Galaxy, and that's really kind of expected. This one doesn't. No, it doesn't give you a clue. It doesn't give you a clue at all. But visually, you know, the cans are both quite similar in a way. You know, similar like cartoony artwork. You know, if that's your bag, pick whichever one you like off the shelf. But if you're more of a sweet beer fan, go for the Pineapple Express. If you're a more bitter fan, go for the Love and Hate. And it's kind of ironic, really, because Love and Hate is still a NEPA, which is still much more on the sweeter, juicier side of the IPA world. But yeah, it is what it is. One's for sweet lovers, one's for bitter lovers. And I'm waffling. And before I waffle too much more, we're going to say, those have been the beers. I've been me. Them down there are the buttons. You know exactly what to do with them by now. You've got your like, comment, dislike, and subscribe. Choose any combination of them as you wish. And I'll see you again soon for another one. Bye for now.